the episode, we wanted to take a second to remind you that our Patreon exclusive is only available until the end of March, which is coming up soon. So if you wanted to get your hands on our Hamilton-inspired enamel pin, the only way to do that is to head to patreon.com/Sartorial Geek before the end of the month, which is March 2019, to grab our exclusive reward. We also wanted to thank our friends who have already supported us. So thank you, Melanie, Catherine, Renee, Whitney, Mara Jade, Karen, I love your art so much, Alyssa at Nerd Side of Life, Jamie, Francisco, and Stacy. Thank you so much for your support.
Today's podcast is brought to you by Audible.
Audible is great for people like me who are very, very bad at reading, but are very good at listening to things. We recommend so many cool books on the website, like Geekerella by Ashley Poston. And if you don't have time to read like me, you can listen with Audible.
Get a free audiobook download and a 30-day free trial at www.audibletrial.com/sartorialgeek.
That's audibletrial.com/sartorialgeek. Hey, welcome to the Sartorial Geek podcast. I'm Jordan Ellis of Jordan Today, and I'm here with Ashley Poston, who you guys will know from Geekerella, if you know like Geekerella separately or know our collection with Geekerella. And also you wrote something for issue 4 of the magazine, which was so great. Plus we've done like panels together and stuff. I feel like we know each other. Yes. I love every single thing. Like you were the very first official license for a book that I ever did.
Oh my gosh. And then you went on to do like Sam Maggs and V.E. Schwab and just like be still my heart.
It's so great. Like the collection of people that I've gotten to work with so far is like the greatest group of people ever. And I'm so happy. And then everyone loves each other. Like it's just the greatest.
It really is. And like, oh yeah, I just love all of your designs and your collections. I just want everything to be like your collection just in my closet.
Well, hopefully we'll be doing more and more and more, which is part of what we're talking about. We might as well just like do the exciting thing first. You have new things coming out.
I do. I have new things coming out. I have a new book coming out April 2nd. I'm really sad it wasn't April 1st, so I could do a really great Fool's joke.
Yes.
Gosh, that would have been amazing. But alas, no, I have a new book coming out April 2nd. It's called The Princess and the Fangirl. It is a contemporary retelling of The Prince and the Pauper set at a fan convention.
That's so awesome.
Yeah, I am so excited. I loved Geekerella because it was just like the perfect like rom-com, Disney rom-com. But I love Princess and the Fangirl even more because I just got to like dig into what I love about like conventions and like fandoms, and I could talk about like the good and the bad in the fandoms, and I could dissect it in like a really fun setting, and I got to write really swoony romances. I mean, it's my baby. I love it so much.
That's like the dream project.
It really was.
So is it in like, it is with Geekerella, right? Are they like, how do those worlds combine or align?
Technically, they are standalones, but they are set in the same universe. So if you have read Geekerella and you read Princess of the Fangirl, there will be characters who come in from Geekerella without spoiling anything. But you don't have to have read it to appreciate Princess and the Fangirl. It's just
cool. So they're like related, but not sequel.
Yeah, they're like companion novels. You can read them separately or in any order you want to, but like the universe order is Geekerella and then Princess.
That's so fun. I'm so excited.
It's pretty great.
It's the best. I was actually like thinking that something that's so cool about like new books I'm discovering now is that there are so many books that take like 2 or 3 or 4
different and very separate things that you love and put them all together. And that's like what your books do, which is so great.
I love it so much. Yeah, like the first one was about Darian and Elle, and this one is about Jess and Imogen. And Jess, from Geekerella because she was Darian's co-star. And I just like connecting them that way, and just I'm so excited.
That's so awesome. Yeah. So if anyone picked up issue 4 of the magazine, you talked a lot about fanfic, which I feel like I didn't actually know that's how you got started, or like that's what you wrote first, which is very cool. And then also I feel like that is such a perfect, like your books are books. They're not fanfic, but they're like, you can tell that
it might have come from fanfic.
Yeah. So once you know that, it's very cool. So I kind of want to just like talk about that. Like, how did you find it in the first place? Did you know that you wanted to write this kind of thing and then found out fanfic existed and were like, oh my God, or did it go the other way? Or like what's your origin story, I guess?
All right. So long ago when the pyramids are still young. No. Yeah. No, when I was in middle school, well, I've always had a penchant to write because when I was younger, I had a really bad speech impediment. I would stutter a lot. So I didn't really like to talk out loud. And so I found that I could write stories and like no one would pick on me for writing stories. So like I started writing like short stories and stuff like that. And then in middle school, I got really deep into this one Saturday morning cartoon called Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yeah, I watched so much of that.
So much of that. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. And so I started Googling it. Well, not Googling because Google wasn't really a thing.
Oh my
back
gosh.
in the days of Angel Fire.
Yep.
I asked Jeeves it, right? And like I found like so AO3 wasn't a thing back then because Naomi Novik hadn't, risen up and been like, we're going to do this awesome archive. So like most of the fanfic was on like Angel Fires or they were on like message boards. And so I started like reading these like stories and they were fanfic and they were exactly what I wanted to do. And so I started writing it too, because I had these ideas with these characters. And so in 6th grade, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to start writing this. And so I never stopped. I got into Harry Potter that way. I got into Sailor Moon. I did a really great Sailor Moon Dragon Ball Z mashup. Let me tell you, it was terrible.
Like, that's so perfect though.
Yeah, it's just like, and like I found my voice and who I was in the fanfic community, and like I got to explore all the things that I couldn't in real life because I'm from a really small town where like everything is either football or farming. Right. And so like I didn't really have anyone in person to talk to. So I found like a lot of my friends online, and I found like who I was, and I also found my sexual identity online, and it was just like, it was really informative for me. And I don't know where I would be without fanfic, honestly, because like a lot of friends I have now, I met in fanfic and in fandom. And like,
that's so cool.
Yeah. I just really love it, and I still write fanfic today. I do.
Do you really?
I do. It helps me remember why I started writing in the first place, like writing my own stories. Because like
that's so cool.
I just love the joy of being able to like play in a world and to have these characters and to be able to like have a character study with them. And I love it so much. So yeah, I still write fanfic a lot.
That's such a smart way to like, I mean, I'm not a writer, but I know that you like anything, you have to do like exercises and like do things to like keep your creative brain working, and like, there's so much that goes on behind the scenes. And I feel like writing fanfic is like the most fun writing exercise you could possibly imagine.
So much fun.
That's so cool.
I love it. And like, it taught me to meet deadlines and to like ignore flame reviews. And like,
yeah, no, that's such a smart, I mean, it's so cool that you got started so young. And then it's also so great that like, yeah, like you doing something as like a hobby or just like a fun thing on the side can teach you so many important life skills or like industry skills that you need anyway. Like being on like a message board and making connections, that's like the same thing as being in an industry and making connections. It's you're in middle school instead of an adult, but like that's so great any way you can learn that stuff.
Yeah, and like being betas for other fic authors. I mean, that is a perfect way to like hone your critique partner skills. So yeah, it's just it's so cool, and I love fanfic so much. And also fanfic and like fandom is also where I started doing graphic design, which is what I did as my professional job before I became a full-time author.
I didn't know that either. That's awesome. So are you super into fan art too?
God, I love fan art so much.
Okay, awesome.
It's like,
I mean, it's really cool to talk to. I feel like this is who like I am drawn to naturally, and then it's cool to like find out that this is real, but like you're in the world that you're working in too. You know what I mean? Like you are in fandom in real life on top of writing books that then end up in fandom. So I feel like that's really cool because you get it, which is awesome.
It's the ultimate Inception.
Right. Yeah, seriously though. Yeah. Like it shows like it's, you know,
top's never going to stop spinning. It's just going to keep going.
And we were talking before about how like now your books have fan art, and like that's cool that you like know that and
so
love
weird.
it. And
I love it so much. And like it has fanfic so cool. too, and I can't read the fanfic, and I'm so distraught.
Explain that, because I talked to other authors about it, and it makes total sense, but like it's something you don't think about.
It's not, until and I really hate it. Like, so I can't read fanfic because I don't want to like yank ideas, like not on purpose, but like accidentally take elements from fanfic into like what I write next, especially fanfic of people writing of my stuff. So I don't want to do that because it's their work and it's their stories. And
it's like the ultimate dilemma, because it's all like that's all so real, but then you're like, but I want to enjoy it too.
I know, and I can't enjoy it, but finally, so I finished. I also have another series aside from Geekerella called Heart of Iron, and the sequel is coming out in July. And after the sequel comes out, I can finally read like the fanfic that I have bookmarked.
Oh, perfect!
Yes, I'm so excited.
Awesome.
Yeah,
that's gonna be like the best day ever.
That's gonna be like my treat for getting through it. Is like I would read my own fanfic.
Is that so weird? Like, I can't really imagine how that feels in your brain to be like, I started like this, and then I wrote a book, and now I can read fanfic that other people wrote of my thing. Like, how does that feel?
Honestly, if I think about it too much, I start to cry.
Because it's seriously.
Like I never thought I would be here ever. So it's just, I'm very, very lucky. I think that's all there is to it. I am lucky to be where I am and to have the readers that I do and the publishers that I do. And I just, it's a little bit of hard work and a whole lot of luck. And I'm just always so grateful.
That I understand that feeling. Like it's just so cool. And it's so cool to have like, you can see your journey. Like you can look back like at all the things along the way. And I feel like it's really motivational too, to talk, like to hear your story. And like you were saying, like, it's not easy, but it's really motivating to like young writers, like how you got started and how you got to where you are is so cool.
Yeah, I mean, like it's really surprising. Like when I talk to other authors, they're like, "Yeah, I also started in fanfic." Like you would not believe how many authors have actually started in fanfic, but you just don't know.
And I mean, how would you, unless like you could just keep that a secret, or you have to like go hear them on a panel or something like.
Yeah, I mean, like I think there's still this stigma with like authors who wrote fanfic first, was like, oh, you did that, because like for a long time, at least like for me, growing up and becoming an adult, like fanfic was this thing you didn't really talk about in real life. Then like that has a long history with it too, and also why like most fanfic authors are women, and it's just it's a long thing that I can definitely link to some articles, because I am not a professional in that study, but yeah, I've read so many academic studies and papers about like fandom and like especially online internet culture, and yeah. So it's very enlightening that finally the stigma is slowly like wearing off, and it's okay to be a fangirl and to like embrace what you love and be unironically enthusiastic about it. I think,
and I feel like important. That's happening like across a lot of parts of fandom too. Like, I mean, I remember even like I was talking to a friend of mine who sort of used to cosplay as a kid, but then was like, but I didn't really, because it was so weird. Like to like spend money on it when I was a kid was like not okay. Like it didn't feel like it was okay. And it's so cool to see now. I mean, obviously there is still like, this isn't across the board, but like you can be a cosplayer and like be pretty open about it, and it's super different than it was a couple decades ago. Yeah,
because it's like I think the internet helped to like crack open the community, and so we're all related. Well, not related, but we're all in the same like community together. And so even if like I live in the South and you live like somewhere up north, and I have friends over on the West Coast, and like it doesn't matter how far we are, we're all still connected and we're all still part of the same community, which I don't think, which was a lot harder to do before the internet.
Yeah, just hearing you talk about how you first found like fanfic before there were places where it was all together, I was like, oh my gosh, I can't even, I like forget how hard it was to find things before. Yeah, like you really had to hear like word of mouth from a person in real life.
Like me and my best friend, when we were in middle school and high school, we carried a notebook with us where we would like write in fanfics and trade it off to each other, because like we couldn't find any online.
Oh my gosh, that's so old school, but it's so real. Like so that. Real. I remember like when there were like cheat codes for video games and stuff. Yes. It was the same thing. You would like write it down and give it to someone.
Yep.
Oh my gosh. Are there, because I'm not like, I know that fanfic exists and I like sometimes it crosses my path and I read it, but I'm not as in it now. Like, if you're just like a person right now who's like, oh, fanfic sounds like something I would like, let me check it out. Are there places to go now that are like easier to get into, or like what is fanfic? Where does it live online now?
Online, it lives mostly on AO3, Archive of Our Own. It is a completely free archive of hundreds of thousands of fanfics that you can create an account, you can upload, you can read. It was created by like a group of like fanfic internet nerds who is like, fanfic.net isn't really doing it for us, because if you go to fanfic.net, like the archives are terrible. You can't find anything. The back end is a mess. But so they wanted to create a space where you could find what you wanted and you could upload what you wanted. And yeah, Archive is just fantastic. I donate to them whenever I can, because they are run completely free on a shoestring budget, and it is amazing what they are able to do.
That's so cool. Yeah. Is there a way to like network with other people on that too? Is it mostly like just reading other people's stuff, or can you like are there like discussion boards or like
there are
hangouts there too?
Yeah, you can comment on fics and you can leave kudos and you can like bookmark them, and you can also send private messages to people.
That's super cool.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I usually leave like comments and stuff and like kudos, and it's a great way to interact with other people, and you can dedicate fics to other authors on the site too. So you can, it's so cool. You can like write a fic, and then like there's a special place where you can like, where it's like a drop down menu where you can be like dedicated to, and then you can like link another account, and it's just, I love it so much.
That's so cool. If you, just because like I'm curious, if you had to like give advice to like a middle schooler now who's like, I want to be a writer someday, and they're interested in sort of like going the path that you did, like how not like how would you get started, but like it's kind of overwhelming. Is there like an entry point, or like do you just read and then just like go and start writing from there and just see what happens?
Yeah, I mean, the only like real advice I could probably give is you're going to suck at first, but you will get better.
Right.
That's
really good advice though.
Yeah. It's like Picasso didn't start out as Picasso. J.K. Rowling did not start out as J.K. Rowling. It's just like, it's, like, and most of your favorite fan artists, like they're great now, but they used to draw stick figures too. So it's just something that you have to keep working on it. And it is a muscle you have to flex. There are some people who are like, well, some people are like, are at a better disposition to writing or drawing than someone else. I'm like, yeah, sure, probably. But they also had to work hard at it too. So I don't know. I'm in the mindset where like, because I was never very good at grammar, and I flunked almost every single one of my English classes.
Oh my gosh.
In middle school. It was bad. I couldn't diagram sentences. It did not make sense to me. And yet here I am. It's just like, you are going to suck at first, but you will find your voice, and you'll find the kinds of tropes that you love to write and the kind of characters you love to write. And then once you do, just keep writing it and don't give up.
I feel like that's the kind of advice like you hear from like parents a lot when you're a kid, but it's so different hearing from someone who has like someone who actually has made it and did it that way. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like I've always like known you're gonna suck at first, or like you're gonna fail, but it feels like no one else has to. You know?
Yeah.
So it's like really cool to hear you say that.
It's really funny because especially online, like people only post like their best things. You only see the highlight reel from other people's lives.
Yeah.
So I think it's really important to talk about, especially like if you do want to get into like writing or like some form of like creative field, like you do have to talk about failure, and you do have to talk about, well, I did, get rejected. What was it? 74 times before I got an agent.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
I mean, it's stuff like
and
that.
That's so real, but it makes sense. I mean, like it makes sense on one hand, because like sometimes from a professional standpoint, it's not like great to have a list of your failures and like talk about them all the time. Like when you're trying to look like you have your shit together, or like you're trying to get somewhere, it feels like you don't want to like acknowledge how much you didn't do that, but it happened, and it's so like it is a part of everyone's story. And I think you're right. Like you do get the highlight reel, but that doesn't mean nothing else happened. Yeah. It's just like not everyone publishes that all the time.
Exactly. It's just like not everyone like talks about like, oh, I failed this, but like you also have to remember that every failure isn't really a failure if you're still moving forward. Because like all like those 73 rejections, they got me to where I am now, and I am a better like person because of it, because I've learned to accept rejection. I've learned to, bounce back from it, and I've like learned to learn from it, which is very, very, very important, especially in this field, because like you will get rejections all the time. And it's not because you're bad or because you don't have a good story or because you don't write well, but it's usually luck, because like maybe that editor or that agent just signed someone with almost that exact same plot, or maybe there's already book publishing that's like that. It's really nothing. It's usually nothing having to do with you, and it's everything having to do with timing.
I like that. Like, rejections aren't always personal. Like, sometimes it's just, not everyone can win everything all the time. It's just like not the way the world works, but that doesn't mean you're bad. And I think like you figuring out how to keep going is like the best advice ever, because, rejections happen to people, whether they talk about them or not. Like, that's just part of life. And so taking that and moving forward, then you can get to the 74th one where it is a success. And that's amazing.
Yeah, it's really, really important. And it's really important to also just love what you do, because like in the face of all those rejections, you have to keep your love for writing, or else it does become a chore that you don't want to do anymore. And like, why do you write if not because you love it? Like, you're not going to get rich writing. I promise you that.
Yes.
Like, there's like, I have so many family members who are like, well, are you a millionaire yet? And I'm like, are you kidding me?
I know.
I still have like $30,000 of student loans that I have to pay off. Like, no, I'm not.
Well, and that's it too. Like, some industries, like, they look different than they actually are. So it's like, oh, you have a published book that's in bookstores everywhere. That must mean you're a millionaire. It's like, okay, well, that's not exactly how this works all the time.
It's like, here's a very large map of like the percentage of what you get from the book being on the shelf. Spoiler alert. Yeah, it's just like, you have to love what you do first and foremost. And yeah, so that's basically all of the advice that I would have. Like, just keep working at it and just love it.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Even when you hate it, just try to love it.
Right. Just remember why you love it and get through the part that you hate.
Exactly.
Because hopefully it'll be worth it on the other side.
Which is why I still write fanfic.
Yeah. That's so awesome. What's your favorite part of being like, so you've done, like, you have gone through all of the various levels of like writing fanfic and then trying to get an agent, and like now you are a published author. Is your favorite part still writing, or are there like other parts of being an author now that are your favorite?
Oh, that's hard.
You can have more than one answer. That's okay.
Because I feel like as a good author, I should say that my readers are my favorite part.
Okay, yeah.
But like as someone who like spends most of her time alone writing, I have to say my favorite part of writing is actually editing. I really like, I like having a draft in front of me. I like knowing what I can change, what I can't change. Whereas like when I draft, like I am notorious for stalling because there's just a blank page below me and I'm like, oh no, how do I fill this? What are words? Where's the plot? Right. What are characters? It's just, but yeah, I really like to edit. And I also really like to explore new genres, and like I like to try and reinvent old tropes. That's one of my favorite things to do, because I have like a few tropes that I just really love, and I like when I finally find a story that I can like use those tropes in and just run with it.
That's so awesome. That's good though too, because I mean, writing is so many steps. So like writing isn't just the first draft. Like editing is a huge part of writing too. So I think that's a totally great answer.
Yeah, I mean, like editing is a bigger part of writing than writing is, because you end up editing usually for longer than you're writing. So you have to love the grind.
Yeah. Which is another thing that you don't necessarily think about. Like if you haven't done it before, you're like, oh, you write a book and then
Then you're done.
it goes on to bookshelves.
Nope.
Yeah.
Like usually, because it's funny, because readers will come up to me and say they loved a scene in a book, and I will look at them and I will like have this momentary panic in my head, like, which scene was that? When was that? At what point? Because like by the time a book comes out, I will be like 2 years ahead of it because I have written it 2 years ago.
Oh my gosh, totally.
So I'm just like,
I didn't even think about that.
So I have to like, I have this like momentary panic where I'm like, do I lie and say, yes, I remember, or do I tell them the truth and break their heart? Which is it?
That's so funny. That makes so much sense, but I've never thought about that. Like the time difference between writing it and then doing like a tour about it, or even just talking to fans like later.
Yes.
That's so funny. And you've written so much more stuff since then.
So much.
Like if you're an active writer. Yes. Oh my gosh, that's hilarious.
Yeah, it's just like my tiny goldfish brain can only shove so much in at one time. So they're like, oh, Darian did so and so in this chapter. And I'm like, yeah, I will. Yeah, they did. Yes. So
that's so fun too. Like I always think of the movie Galaxy Quest when I think about like fans, because that was one of the first movies I saw that was about like conventions.
I haven't won a savings.
Yes. And like that's like what I picture when there are like fans who know details of what you did like better than you
100%.
did. 100%. It's so funny. But that's so true though. So like when you get fans, if someone's brain works like all about the details and yours is working like in a different way, it's hilarious that is just what happens.
Yeah, it's just so like funny. You know this story better than I do now, so we're just going to smile and nod for a minute. But like after that happened the first time, I learned that every time I have to go and do like an event for a certain book, I will go back and I will refresh my memory so I don't disappoint fans, because that's the one thing that I don't like to do.
Do you like fully reread your books again, or do you like skim? Like, how do you? I was gonna say that sounds hard. For a bunch of reasons, that sounds hard.
Nope, I just skim it and I'm like, that happened. Okay, that happened. Okay, yeah, I cannot change that sentence, even though I want to. We're gonna keep going.
Oh yeah. Does that happen a lot? Where you like, because now you have books that came out like a while ago because you've been like doing this. Are you ever like, oh no, I wish I could just, or do you just like as an author learn that like once it's published, it is what it is, and then you like move on and do the next thing?
That one basically, because like I can't go back and I can't change anything. So usually I'm just like, well, that's who I was at that point in my life, and this is who I am now. So the only thing I can do is go forward and not go backwards.
Yeah, that's like a very good, realistic way to look at it, like, which makes a lot of sense.
It's like a can of worms the other way, because you'll just be like emailing your publisher at 2 a.m. going, can I please?
Try to like re-edit forever.
Yeah. It's just not, boy.
Yeah, no, I imagine that's the healthiest way to do it. Like you just have to do a project and then it's finished and then move on to the next thing.
Yep. And also like usually like that next thing is not even in the same genre. So I'm like, what now?
Is that so hard? Like, have you ever been writing more than one book at once?
Yes. Last year.
Is that impossible?
It was so hard. So last year I had to juggle between a fantasy sci-fi, the sequel to Heart of Iron, and Geek 2. And so which is Princess and the Fangirl. So I had to like switch brains at some point throughout the year. Like I would be drafting one and then I'd be drafting the other, and then be editing one and editing the other, and it was just like a toss up. And then that one time when I had both on my plate at once, I just wanted to die.
Yeah, like I actually don't know how you do that.
I honestly cannot remember that month. It's just it's a blank in my memory. I can't.
That makes sense. It just, you can't, like, you just can't even.
I can't even. I don't think my like goldfish brain will allow me to think about that month ever again. So.
Yeah, that's so wild. That's so like exciting though when you get to the other end of it and you have like all kinds of things coming out all the time. That's That is great.
It's so much fun, but it's also so exhausting because like I'm going from princess to, and then 4 months later I have to do like a sci-fi, and then I'm like, I'm going too fast, and it's just it's like whiplash almost, but it's the best because I love writing stories, and I'm just so thankful that I have this problem. Like I'm complaining, but I'm just really happy I have this problem.
You know what? I feel like that's every creative though, where you're like, I love that this is happening. It's so hard, but I would like never take it back or change it at all.
Exactly. Whereas like, please let me complain, but also don't judge me for complaining.
Right. Totally. Well, speaking of that, where can people find all the exciting stuff that's coming out? Like where can people follow you, and like what are the things to look out for coming up soon?
All right, so you can follow me at Ash Poston on Twitter. It's Poston. I know it looks like it should be like pronounced Poston, but it's not.
Yeah. That's something that you can know now that you're listening.
Yes, but
you can hear it.
But if someone says Poston, I am not going to like think unkindly of you, because like it probably should be Poston if we're being honest.
Well, that's the thing about names; they can kind of be whatever you decide. So that is great.
It's Poston, but it's pronounced Smith. My book comes out April 2nd, but if you want to, if you haven't read Geekerella yet, and if you want to, it's going to be an Amazon Kindle deal the entire month of March, and it'll be on sale for $1.99. So please go and check that out, because it's finger guns fantastic.
Yeah.
And then
on $1.99, like you cannot beat
I know
that.
it's cheaper than a latte. I mean, how can you not for $1.99 for the cheap price of a soul? And then April 2nd, Princess and the Fangirl comes out. I would recommend you pre-order because I will be announcing some pre-order goodies that will be also coming your way that I'm just fangirling about just thinking about it. I'm so excited. And then also, I can't talk about most of my tour yet that's happening in April, but I can say that we two are going to be in New York at Books of Wonder on April 9th.
Mm-hmm. I'm so excited.
And it's going to be so much fun. So please come out if you're in the area and join us, because it is going to be a lot of fun. And we're just going to talk a lot about fandom and probably about conventions, because we both go to a lot of them.
Yep. Oh, and we'll both, I don't know if I guess this episode will probably be out after Emerald City, but if it's not, we'll both be there. Like we're both at conventions all the time.
Together,
so if you follow us, yes.
Just like waving from across the convention hall.
Are you doing BookCon? Should I have asked you that? Not on
No, it's fine. I might be at BookCon.
Okay. Cool.
There's it's a maybe not thing. I will be at Blogbound, which is right before BookCon, so chances are I will be at BookCon.
Yes. Cool. But you keep do you keep your schedule like on your website, or just like posting on social where you're going to be? Like people can find where you are. Yes,
I'm easily Googleable. I'll post all my stuff on Twitter and Instagram, and it will also be on my website, ashposton.com. And it's also always in my newsletter, which I'm trying to make monthly, but you know what? I am just really lazy, so it has not been monthly.
Listen, you write a lot, so that's understandable.
But I'm trying. That's a gold star for trying.
Yeah. Awesome. Oh, I'm so excited for all this cool stuff coming
It's
out.
going to be amazing.
Yeah. Thank you so much for chatting with me today. This is the best.
Thank you so much for inviting me. I just love you and your stuff and what you do so much.
This is my favorite when episodes are just like us fangirling about each other.
I know. It's just like, I love everything you do. Never stop.
Oh my gosh. Oh yeah, and everyone you have to get issue 4 of the magazine
please.
and read Ash's article. It is so great.
And every other article,
so
like I loved the one about rewatching Yu-Gi-Oh! That was like I felt that in my soul, and also the fanfic. Oh my god.
Yeah, I mean, I love all the issues, but this one really felt like we touched on every different point that someone can like get into fandom from. It was really special.
It touched my soul. I was like, this is like, it was what I needed. Like at that exact day that I read it, it was so good.
I'm so happy. Oh my gosh, thank you so much. And I'm so excited to see you at so many things coming up.
It's going to be so much fun, and I hope to see the rest of you too at some point in the future.
Yeah, Ash is super nice and friendly. So if you see her somewhere, just go say hi.
Just go say hi, and I'll be real weird. So,
I mean, as we all are. So that's perfect.
Perfect.
Oh, thank you so much for listening, everyone. Please follow Ash to see like where she's going to be and book stuff that's coming up. And thanks for listening. And subscribe and leave a review if you can. Check out our Patreon and have a really great week. Stay nerdy, and we'll talk to you later. Bye.